Welcome to our video on how to cut a roll down side window. First what we're going to do is make sure that the glass is clean on the outside before we bring any film over. So what we're going to do is give it a few sprays of tint slime and then give it a wipe down with some blue cloth so that the surface area is all clean. What we're now going to do is measure our glass. I measure 1 inch either side of the glass onto the trim. We're going to measure it, we're going to pre-wet the window, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go and cut some film, bring it over and then set it up. Now we've got the film on the glass, what we're going to do is position it in place. Now there's one of two ways of doing this. So if you've got the door panel off on the inside of the vehicle, then you'd line it up with this bottom edge here. On this instance we haven't got the door panel off, so what we're going to do is line it up with the bottom edge of the glass where it's touching the rubber. So we're going to slide this into place. So as you can now see, we've got the film lined up with the top edge of the rubber at the bottom of the glass. So what we're going to do is smooth out the film to get rid of all this water. What this will do is hold it in place while we're trimming away all the excess at the top and the sides. So using a felt edge squeegee, you're going to push the water out, but pay close attention to not take the squeegee beyond the watermarks. Basically, if the film's in contact with the glass, you can push it, but if it's not in contact with the glass, I wouldn't touch it, just in case you crease it. Keeping one hand on the glass as we're doing it. This way the film won't move as much, and if it does we can quickly readjust it. But as you can see, I'm not touching this film over here because it could crease it. Same on this side. I'm just going to lock it down. Now what we're going to do is mark our edges. So you may see some tinters cutting these edges with their knives. The risk of that is that you can cut the rubbers. Rubbers are actually quite expensive to replace. So alternatively, you can use a Sharpie. Any other brand of permanent marker is available. What you're going to do is you're going to mark down the edges either side. Basically, they're going to be your guide for where to cut once you've done your top cut and you bring the film away. So what we're going to do with my Sharpie is come over to the side that we want to cut. We're going to lift the film back so it's not touching. We're going to use our finger first to just run the film down so it's flat. Obviously, it's not going to sit flat at the top because we've got this curve here. We're going to take it as far as we can go to the point what I call a pinch point. It's where the film at the top and the film at the side starts to come in together and you get a point where it all meets in the middle. Basically, don't go to within an inch of that. And then I'm just going to mark it with the Sharpie pen to that pinch point. Same on this side, however, it's slightly different. We've got a curve to this window. So what we're going to do is mark an inch into the top edge cut. So same again, I'm going to use my finger first and then mark it with the pen. And then an inch into there. What we now need to do is roll the window down so that we can expose the top edge for cutting. What we're going to do is we're going to lift the film from the bottom, but first we're just going to lift the sides off just in case it's sticking to any of the trims. So what we're going to do is run our finger down the bottom, nice and gentle, through to the middle and lightly pinch the film and fold it back on itself. Note, I'm being really careful not to crease the film at any time. I'm just being very light. And then all I'm going to do is roll this top edge down to expose the cutting surface. So now I've got an edge here, a gap that I can cut in, and the same on the top. And I'm going to close the door so that the glass doesn't move. But now that I've got my fresh blade, I'm ready to cut. So what I'm going to do is peel the film back just so that I can see where the film starts. Obviously we've got a rubber inside the gasket, so what you want to do is just pierce the film along that top edge. Once you're in that top edge, the knife has a tiny groove just by the blade, and what you're going to do is use this groove against the edge of the glass. This will give you a nice cut all the way along. You want to do this cut in one swift motion, because with stops and breaks it means that the cut won't be nice and straight. You can see I'm holding the film with my left hand and cutting with my right. When the slack tends to go up here, so there's no tension, I pause slightly, grab the film in the middle and then go right across. We've now come over to our cutting board. If you don't have a cutting board, you can use the glass on the vehicle itself. but this is a really good example to show you our marked lines and everything like that. So they're nice and visible. We've got a light behind it, makes it nice and clear. So you can either do this freehand where you cut along. I like to use a ruler, get it nice and neat. What we're doing is we're allowing 1 to 2 mil excess either side on our marked lines. This means that the film can tuck into the gasket. Hold your blade tight and press hard with your blade straight down, and then peel away all the excess. Going to do the same on this side now. So you can now see that we've got this pretty awkward cut here. That's purely because the line that we've drawn shows that this much of the glass is actually inside the channel of the rubber itself on the inside. So what we need to do now is line this up. So using a ruler, we're going to line that up nice and neat with our top edge cut. And then we're going to trim that away. As you can see, I go a bit above and a bit below. This is so that the cut's nice and neat and it follows a nice straight line. So now our cut's joined at a point. What we need to do now is round off our edges. So each corner, down here, obviously this bit's our cut bit, it's already done, but up here as well. If you round off the edge, there's less chance of the film catching on the rubber seal when the window's being operated in the future and peeling away. So you can either use something like a 2p piece, it's nice and round. I just use the edge of my finger, but I'm not cutting it on my finger itself. I've got the blade against my finger like that to give a nice rounded edge, so there's no chance of me cutting myself. So I'm going to do that up here. I'm going to round the edge off. Thank you for watching our video on how to cut roll down windows. If you have any questions, feel free to call us on 01244 563156 or email us at sales@window-tint.co.uk. See you in the next video.